much. You guys got a couple plugs in, and then we're ready to roll. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It's always great. Each week we try to showcase a different, wonderful part of our amazing city. And this week it is great to be in Shively. It's great to be in the beautiful Shively Park. I want to start by thanking Mayor Maria Johnson. Thank you so much for permitting us to be here in your great park today. Shively is a wonderful neighborhood, one of the many vibrant, thriving neighborhoods throughout our entire community and its own home rule city. And so, Mayor Johnson, thank you so much. We're glad to be with you here today. We've got a lot of announcements today, so we're going to get right into it. And our first announcement is focused on tourism and the arts. And tourism is such a critical part of our economy. It's a critical part of our culture, of our city, of who we are. We're in the middle of a year where we're seeing record numbers of visitors from around the world who came here for the 150th Kentucky Derby, who came here for the PGA Championship, who are getting ready to come here to be part of the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to join us this fall for Bourbon and Beyond and Louder Than Life concerts. We just had an amazing announcement yesterday where in 2028, Louisville Valhalla Golf Course is going to welcome the world again for the largest international women's golf event, the Solheim Cup, right here in Louisville. All of that and more at our museums and our restaurants, our hotels. We are welcoming people from around the world every day. And one of the reasons people come here is to experience our rich, vibrant arts and cultural scene. Americans for the Arts recently did a study that found spending related to just nonprofit arts and cultural events was more than $275 million in Louisville and drew about 6 million attendees. That's from folks who go to the museums. That's the 100,000 plus that visit the St. James Art Fair each year, that visit our smaller art fairs, that visit performances around the entire community. The arts are such an important part of our identity, of our economy, and our quality of life. And that's why I established the Office of Creative Arts and Industry under the leadership of Jessica Kincaid not too long ago. Jessica is leading the work at Louisville Metro Government. And part of that work is to create the first comprehensive cultural plan for Louisville. And as we announced last week, we've taken a major step forward in the development of that plan. And today, we have another announcement similarly related because that's how important arts and culture are to our community. Today's announcement is about public art. I'm a huge believer in public art. It can shape lives. It can change the way people think and feel. It's part of how we show people, whether we're residents here or visitors to our community, who we are. We celebrate our public spaces and I celebrate our public art. And that's why today we're excited to announce a new venture called Louisville Creates that helps people connect to our city through our incredible works of public art. Louisville Creates is a mobile-friendly website that we're launching. Its purpose is to provide a map of public works that people can see when they visit our city or when they live here and want to do some exploration. We believe this will help visitors and locals alike get to know and develop a greater connection to our city, every part of our city, here in Shively and every other city and community across Louisville through our art. It's an online map of public art installations, and it's a great way to experience our city. So to talk a little bit more about Louisville Creates and how it came together is the director of our arts and our office of So here to talk a little bit more about how this came together, about the Louisville Creates program, is our director of the Office of Arts and Creative Industry, Jessica Kincaid. Jessica?
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. It is kind of a mouthful, the office name. Just last week, we began public outreach for the city's new comprehensive cultural plan, work that will take about a year, but will inform the next decade of how arts and culture will contribute to our city's growth. Arts, culture, and creativity are at the core of Louisville's identity, and Louisville creates all kinds of things to celebrate. Louisville creates experiences, Louisville creates performances, Louisville creates festivals, and of course, Louisville creates public art, which is why we are here today to launch LouisvilleCreates.com and introduce our updated public art mapping tool. On this interactive mobile website, you will find a growing catalog of art in public space that includes images, the names of the artists who made them, the type of artwork, and most importantly, where you can find it. Some of the pieces featured are touches of expression in unexpected places, such as an alley or on the side of a garage, subtle landmarks that enhance the unique identity of a place. You'll find unconventional art forms represented, like poetry sandblasted in a sidewalk, a sculpture made out of Ohio River driftwood, and even an installation tucked into a building niche that mechanically produces rings of fog. All of these pieces showcase what's best about public art, that you can visit it at any time, but you might miss it if you don't know it's there. We've had a very dedicated intern, Quest Lawrence, who's been doing on-the-ground field surveys, and they have covered a lot of ground so far. They've surveyed at least a portion of every Metro Council district, which is how we learned about the mural we're standing in front of today, which was produced just last year by the artist collective Often Seen, Rarely Spoken. It's been so much fun to learn about so many artworks we didn't previously know existed. But there's still more work to do, and the effort to catalog and document is ongoing. We know that there's more art out there to highlight, which is where you come in. If there's artwork in your neighborhood that you want to celebrate, that we want to hear about it. If you have information about artwork already listed on the website, tell us that too. There's a simple form you can submit on LouisvilleCrates.com. We are already working on new projects that will add more points to this map and that will bring more creative expression to our city streets, such as the asphalt art murals on 28th Street in the Parkland neighborhood and the flood wall near the Waterfront Park expansion. All of this confirms what we already know, that Louisville creates great art, and we can't wait to see how LouisvilleCreates.com helps to further connect people to art across different communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It's great to be, as I mentioned, here with Mayor Johnson in Shively in front of this great work of art, and to talk a little bit more about what art means for tourism in our city, and to talk about how it impacts and helps attract visitors from around the world, is the leader of Louisville Tourism, the president and CEO of Louisville Tourism, who's working closely with Jessica, myself, Deputy Mayor Pat Malloy, and many others to attract another arts and cultural event here to Louisville, the Sundance Film Festival. We're still in the mix. Ladies and gentlemen, Cleo Battle. Cleo?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jessica. We are very excited about this new initiative. And this will encourage our community, and not our community as well as our visitors, to check out LouisvilleCrates.com. We know that guests are looking for unique experiences during their travels. The 19 million guests that come to Louisville annually. Louisville certainly offers that with the city's iconic attractions and bourbon experiences. But guests are also looking for ways to experience Louisville like a local. They want to see and experience where we live, where we eat, and where we create art that represents the uniqueness of this place we call home. We appreciate all that art has, its special power to connect people, to inspire conversation, and add authenticity to travel. LouisvilleCrates.com is a guide and a tool to invite guests to explore and discover more of Bourbon City's hidden gems and diverse neighborhoods, bringing the opportunity of tourism to all neighborhoods in our destination. Our Louisville Tourism website will drive further discovery and use of this tool by way of a link in the arts and entertainment section of our website at gotolouisville.com/things to do. Guests will also find a rack card with a QR code that will launch LouisvilleCrates.com, distributed at all of our Louisville Visitor experiences. With this new mapping tool, we are looking to elevate Louisville as a premier destination for urban art, providing a chance for visitors to immerse themselves in the cultural heartbeat of our city. Our newly renovated downtown visitor center, newly opened airport welcome center stand at the ready to make guests aware of the new tool, helping visitors get the most out of their time in our destination. I want to also thank Quest Lawrence, a proud U of L School of Art student who has worked for over a year photographing and mapping each piece of Louisville's public art. Please stay tuned for additional information as the program develops. And as Jessica mentioned earlier, please submit the artwork you see in your neighborhood so we can include it as part of the experience. Just use the submission button on LouisvilleCrates.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cleo. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you again, Mayor Johnson, for hosting us today in Shively at the wonderful Shively Park, where there's some great public art. Thank you all very much. As we said, moving on to the next topic, arts and cultural events are so important to our city. And another great example is World Fest. It's coming up on Labor Day weekend. We're hoping to have over 100,000 people attend World Fest in the Labor Day weekend, which showcases the incredible, diverse, and rich cultures we have throughout our city. And one of the groups that's going to be performing is the mariachi dance group, Mexico Lindo. They are celebrating their 15th year sharing Mexican music and folklore in our city. They started in 2009 with a small group of moms and daughters at the Epiphany Church. Anna Lane is the founder, coordinator, and instructor. And soon, they started to get invitations to perform at events all across our city. Mexico Lindo is performed at city sponsors events, churches, schools, nursing homes, hospitals, the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts, 4th Street Live, Pegasus Parade, Easter Parade, Churchill Downs, and many more other places. Their group has about 40 performers from 4 to 68 years old. We've got a small portion of them with us today because many of them are at school. And more than 100 families have been part of Mexico Lindo. They don't charge for instructions or performances, and they do around 30 performances a year. Their mission is to build a greater understanding and appreciation of Mexico culture and folklore. My office was proud to present them with a proclamation earlier celebrating 15 years of service to our community, and later this month, you'll have a chance to see them perform again at World Fest. We're going to give you and the entire community a little taste of what can be expected, the great entertainment, the great reflection of the diversity and cultures that exist throughout Louisville right now when we get a little bit of taste from Mexico Lindo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your kind invitation. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you, everybody. And we are going to perform a song called El Jarabe Tapatío. It's from Guadalajara. So our dance group depicting cultural folkloric music and rhythms from different states of Mexico, including mariachi, banda, cumbia, Aztec, and Coast rhythms. And this time they are gonna dance Jalisco. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for the honor. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you, everyone that's part of Mexico Lindo. And if you want to see more of Mexico Lindo or some other amazing dances, other great singing, other great performances, get a taste of our richness, of the diversity and culture throughout our entire community that we celebrate every day here in Louisville, please join us for World Fest on the Belvedere this Labor Day weekend. All right, Mariana, Ashley, Corey, thank you all very much. Thank you. Our next announcement concerns the ongoing work that we're doing to ensure that every child aged 3 and 4 gets off to a great start with their education. Earlier this year, we launched Thrive by 5 Louisville, a new nonprofit dedicated to creating the path to early childhood learning for every 3 and 4-year-old in Louisville. I'm grateful to all of my colleagues on the Metro Council for their support in supporting Thrive by 5 in the recent city budget. I'm thankful to the leadership of Mariana Barzin, who leads our Office of Philanthropy, for the leadership that she and her colleagues in that office have done in this area. And I'm incredibly grateful to Ashley Novak Butler, who's chair of the Thrive by 5 board and is working tirelessly every day to make this organization, to make this mission a reality for every child in our community to get a great start on their early education and early learning. Thrive by 5 also receives some support from the state through the General Assembly, and we're very thankful for their support as well. Phase 1 of Thrive by 5 Louisville pilot is to build and strengthen the early learning workforce and to invest in our early learning facilities across the city. That includes private and nonprofit preschools, child care centers, and family child care homes. To lift up that workforce and facilities we have now, we really need to understand them, their strengths, their challenges, their opportunities, everything. And that's why today, I'm happy to announce that we have the results from the first ever comprehensive study on Louisville's early learning workforce. Among the study's key findings are that nearly half of early learning teachers in Louisville, 30% of early learning staff, and 30% of family child care providers earn a total family income of less than $30,000. That means far too many of them are struggling financially in a field that needs more workers and plays such an important role in our city today and our city of tomorrow. The study also found that about half of our teachers had left the previous early center where they'd work in the last year. That's an enormous amount of turnover. And nearly half of all teachers and teacher assistants want to further their education in this field because they are committed to it. We want to support them in that effort. The results of this work will guide some of the early work that Thrive by 5 is doing. And completing a step like this was identified as a critical step to make all children have access to early childhood learning. It was paid for by American Rescue Plan funds set aside by the Metro Council for Early Learning. And the Early Learning Workforce Study was implemented by the Metro United Way, the Community Coordinated Child Care, and research staff at the Child Care Services Association. 2 of those organizations are represented here today who join Ashley Novak Butler, Mariana Barzin, and others who are supporting this effort. So next, I'd like to introduce 2 of those individuals who are working hard with us in this area of early childhood learning and help so much with this study. Our partners here today with us include Ashley Brandt, the Director of Thriving Kids at Metro United Way, and Corey Gdansky, Executive Director of Community Coordinated Childcare, also known as 4C. So first you'll hear from Ashley and then Corey. Thanks to Ashley and Corey both for their partnership and continued commitment to working with us as we strive to make this goal a reality. Ashley?
We're gonna switch it up.
Okay, Corey.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Corey Gdansky. I'm the Executive Director of 4C. For over 50 years, our agency has been committed to high-quality childcare for children and families. We know all too well the challenges facing the early care and education workforce. That's why we are so grateful to the mayor and his commitment to Thrive by 5, starting with the focus on building up the workforce. There were several recommendations that came out of this study, and several of them, including one that we and other partners are ready to get to work on right away. This includes the development of opportunities and incentives for new educators to enter the field, to increase their educational attainment, and to most importantly, receive better compensation for the critical role that they play for children, their families, and the whole community. We're thrilled that we're getting to work on this in our community, and so thanks so much to the mayor.
Is it okay if I move this? So, good morning. I'm Ashley Brandt, Director of Thriving Kids at Metro United Way. And first, I'd like to thank Mayor Greenberg for making early care and education a priority for his administration and for highlighting the data from Louisville's first early learning workforce study that will inform the ongoing initiatives the city, Thrive by 5, Community Coordinated Child Care 4C, Metro United Way, and countless other community partners are engaged in to build a stronger ecosystem of support for children and families. As we heard from Mayor Greenberg and Corey, data collected through the workforce study shows an early childhood workforce that is in need of key investments, programmatic supports, and policy changes. And while supporting the early childhood workforce is necessary and worthwhile in and of itself, when we zoom out, we can see even more clearly why investments in this workforce and ecosystem are so critical. Early childhood educators are the workforce behind the workforce. Without them, children are left without care, parents and caregivers are left without options, and employers are left without a workforce. The impact of an insufficient early childhood workforce has ripples across our community. In a 2023 survey of Kentucky residents, over half of parents indicated they have struggled to find childcare. This struggle has resulted in a third of parents reporting they limited their working hours, a quarter of parents saying they have quit work to stay home and care for children, and 15% of parents reporting they declined a promotion due to childcare needs. We can see from these statistics that when working parents and caregivers cannot access quality, affordable childcare, it affects not only their ability to work, but our economy as well. To achieve thriving kids, strong households, and an equitable community across Louisville, we need a thriving early care and education ecosystem, backboned by a well-compensated, highly educated, and respected early care and education workforce. Metro United Way looks forward to working in partnership with the mayor and his team, Thrive by 5, Community Coordinated Child Care 4C, and others to ensure a strong early care and education workforce that has their own needs met while working every day to meet the diverse needs of children and families in our community.
Thank you so much, Corey and Ashley. And I also, in the changeover with Mexico Lindo, I didn't see we're also joined today by Leanne French and Annette, who are also critical parts of our early learning team that work alongside Mariana and work alongside Ashley and others that are dedicating their time to ensure that every child has an opportunity to start their early learning with a quality teachers in quality facilities. Thank you all so much for what you do. You all are going to continue to hear a lot about this because we're working hard on it every day. Thank you all so much. All right, two more folks to recognize. Nadia, if you'll come up next. It's now time to celebrate one of the many people throughout our city who devote themselves to doing good work that benefits others and helps make our city safer, stronger, and healthier. Today, I'm proud to recognize Nadia Kalana Garcia. She is the founder of El Papaleo. In English, that translates to the paperwork. And that's what she handles for so many families in our immigrant communities. Helping families who may face language and other barriers navigate processes necessary to create a life here in our city and our country. Immigration forms, tax filing, accounting, and more. Our immigrant community is the fastest growing part of our city. We're thrilled by that. And Nadia, who's a proud member of our growing Cuban American community through El Papelo, has helped so many of our neighbors work through the system so they do things like get a job, start a business, help get their children set up in school, and other processes. She often works pro bono as well and provides an incredibly valuable service to an incredibly important part of our Louisville community. Nadia, thank you so much for everything that you do, and it's proud to proclaim that today is El Papaleo Day throughout all the city of Louisville. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you want to say a few words? Okay, sure, please, Nadia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That surprised me a lot. Thank you. So, my name is Nadia Calana Garcia. I'm a proud member of the Cuban American community in the state of Kentucky. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've been doing to the community. And our office is, I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous. And our community, our office is here to help people, to support the Hispanic community in fulfilling and pursuing the American dream. So, mi nombre es Nadia Calana García. El mayor me ha dado una gran sorpresa al darme hoy el día del papeleo y nuestra oficina está lista y ayudando a toda la comunidad hispana a tener el sueño americano. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nadia. And finally today, a bittersweet announcement. A bittersweet announcement about a good friend and colleague of mine. Shortly after I became mayor, when I was looking for a strong deputy mayor for economic development, someone who loved this community, someone who had contributed time to this community, someone who wanted to see our community continue to prosper, I knew the person to call. And that person was Pat Malloy. Pat answered my call and told me in that very first phone call, well, I would be happy to give you 6 to 12 months of my time to help get the administration going, to help launch economic development in our city in a new direction. And I said, Pat, we'll take however many days you're willing to give us. And in the past 16 months, longer than the original schedule, Pat has dedicated every day of his life to helping make Louisville safer, stronger, and healthier. He's led our economic development cabinet. He's led the stakeholder process that led to the first in over a decade comprehensive economic development action plan called Growing Louisville Together that is leading our city in a new direction, that's creating new jobs, that's helping entrepreneurs get access to capital, that's building our workforce, that's working together with educational institutions, that's focused on the brand of our city, and that also created the Louisville Economic Development Alliance, an important new organization that's going to public-private partnership that's going to lead economic development forward into the coming years ahead. So about a month or so, Pat asked me in my office if I remembered that conversation when he had said he'd give us 6 to 12 months and reminded me that it had been a little bit longer than that. And his plans for himself and his family meant that it was time for him to say goodbye to being deputy mayor for economic development. And I reluctantly remembered that conversation all too well. I was thrilled that Pat gave us even more time than he originally said. But the best news of that conversation is that Pat is going to continue to stay involved. Well, as of August 30th at the end of this year, Pat will no longer be deputy mayor for economic development. He's going to continue to remain a senior advisor to me and my administration, and he's going to remain the interim CEO of the Louisville Economic Development Alliance. As they begin their national search for a new CEO, Pat will continue to lead that organization in an interim role. Pat has done a tremendous job for our administration. He's made an incredibly positive impact on our community. His legacy will last long beyond the 16 months that he served in this public service role with Louisville Metro government. Pat, I know you're going to stay very involved. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your time. Thank you for serving as Deputy Mayor for Economic Development.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I'll get emotional, so I'll try not to do that because I care about the city and I love this guy. I was thinking driving out here, my story is kind of a Louisville story. I was driving down near where my dad grew up, and my mother came to Louisville from South Central Kentucky when she was 18 years old because her sisters told her she didn't have a job. There weren't any jobs in Stearns, Kentucky, which was her home. But her sisters told her about this new place out off Old Shep Road called General Electric Appliance Park. And they said they were hiring women and you could come to work there. So that brought my mother to Louisville. My dad was raised by a single mom at 6th and Magnolia, played in Cabbage Patch most days, delivered the newspapers all over old Louisville, and the GI Bill opened up the University of Louisville to him and the University of Louisville Law School. And a generation later, they educated 3 boys. We had a genetic misfire in my family. We all ended up being lawyers. And but we all came back to Louisville, and we came here to build businesses and raise families. I told the mayor in April of last year when he asked me to come do this, I said I'll do it for one reason, because I love the city. I was not an insider in his campaign. I think I probably wrote you a check, but and he and I sort of overlap in political philosophies together, but I knew him largely through the business world. And it's been a great joy. I had an opportunity in the early 90s to do something like this working for Governor Jones. And I'll tell you what I told the folks, my teammates in city government on Monday. I told them, particularly all of you standing over here to my left, how proud you need to be of the work you do every day. I try to play golf once every few weeks with some buddies of mine, a lot of whom are retired and most of whom are probably Republicans. And they always tease me, or they'll come to the course and they'll say, what are you doing about homeless? Or what's he doing about, why is the police department 200 people short? And over the last year, I don't berate them, but I tell them often it's pretty easy to sit in the cheap seats. It's easy to sit on the sidelines. It's easy to carp. It's easy to complain when the answers, frankly, are just to get involved and roll up your sleeves, make mistakes, hire people, try to make change, go fight for legislation. And that's what this guy to my right does every single day. I'm stand amazed. I told him on Monday, he probably thinks he's got the hardest job in Louisville, but Paul Humphreys and Marty Polio have equally difficult jobs. But the fact that these leaders like these guys and men and women over here to my left come and do public service every day, it's good stuff, and it's admirable, and they should be applauded for it. So I thank you for the opportunity to serve. I am going to stay as the interim CEO of LIDA. I won't get my handprints off that. It means a lot to this community. We had a great 3-hour meeting yesterday with all the public finance and banks in town. They're excited about the fact that there's a catalytic organization that's new where we can raise our game in terms of public finance and public capital and opportunity for people of all kinds of economic layers that need help in this town. So, Mayor, thank you again for the opportunity, and I appreciate continuing to work with you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Pat. Appreciate everything you've done personally and for the city as well. And the final announcement before we conclude and get to questions from the media is that next week we will not have a weekly press conference. I'm honored to be a delegate to the Democratic National Convention. And so much of next week I will be in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. So there will be no weekly press conference next week. We'll pick back up 2 weeks in 2 Tuesdays. So this, I know we did it on Wednesday because of the Great Solheim Cup announcement yesterday. So with that, thank you so much, Mayor Johnson, for hosting us in Shively. It's wonderful to be here in Shively Park on this beautiful sunny day. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions from members of the media. Yeah, currently there is no plan to hire a new deputy mayor for economic development. With some of the transition that's going on with the Louisville Economic Development Alliance, that organization is going to be doing a lot of work as well. And so Jeff O'Brien, who's a great executive director of the cabinet, will continue to lead the cabinet forward in his role. I believe in giving people the benefit of the doubt and giving people second chances. However, with repeated unexcused absences, with falsifying timesheets to be paid for work that was never done, when there's dishonesty and more, at some point, second, third, fourth, and fifth chances run out. As the leader of Metro government, one of my responsibilities is to be a steward of taxpayer dollars and to support my hardworking teammates who dedicate their lives to public service every day. I don't take personnel decisions lightly, yet there's a time when changes need to be made. Yeah, I would encourage all of you in the media, people in our community, to not to insist on facts, to insist on proof of allegations that are being made. And my administration is happy to provide all of the facts. I'm particularly disappointed at the defamatory and misleading statements that are being directed at other members of our administration, particularly the negative impact that this is having on some of our outstanding women of color who are excelling as part of my administration. Their names are now being publicized without their permission, without their support, without their knowledge. And that's a shame. They deserve better. We all deserve better. Yeah, that's still incredibly important. Far too many Kias are still, and Hyundais are still being stolen from our streets. The Jefferson County Attorney's Office, I'll have to have them provide a more detailed update of exactly where that case stands, but that's still an incredibly large issue for our community, and we still strongly support the efforts to hold them accountable for what's happening on our streets.